God of creation, there at the start, before the beginning of time. With no point of reference, you spoke to the dark and fleshed out the wonder of life. And as you speak, 100 billion galaxies are born. In the vapor of your breath, the planets form. If the stars were made to worship, so will I can see your heart in everything you made. Every burning star, a signal fire of grace. If creation sings your praises, so will I. God of your promise, you don't speak in vain, no syllable empty or void. For once you have spoken, all nature and sights follow the sound of your voice. And as you speak, 100 billion creatures catch your breath, evolving in pursuit of what you said. And if it all reveals your nature so alive, I can see your heart in everything you say. Every painted sky, the canvas of your grace. And if creation still obeys you, so will I. So will I. Stars were made to worship, so will I. If the mountains bow in reverence, so will I. And if the oceans roar your greatness, so will I. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. And if the wind goes where you send it, so will I. If the rocks cry out in silence, so will I. And if the sum of all our praises still falls shine, then we'll sing again 100 billion times. Salvation, you chased down my heart through all of my failure and pride. On a hill you created, the light of the world, abandoned in darkness to die. And as you speak, 100 billion failures disappear. where you lost your life so I could find it here. If you left the grave behind you, so will I. I can see your heart in everything you've done, every part designed in a work of art called love. If you gladly chose surrender, so will I can see your heart 8 billion different ways. Every precious one, a child you died to save. If you gave your life to love them, so will I. Like you would again 100 billion times. But what measure could amount to your desire? You're the one who never leaves the one behind.
Ben and Joel, good to see you guys.
Good to see you, man.
It's awesome to be here with both of you, and just because you kind of lead in different places. Joel's in New York, you're in Sydney, the city campus, and but you guys have come together, and this song "So Will I" is just amazing. I mean, we were just sitting around the table, kind of listening through the new music, you know, at Worship Together Capital, and the song came on, and I think it got done, and we were all just kind of like just wiping eyes and everything, and it's really one of those songs that. It's just the full picture of the gospel, you know, kind of from creation to the end, and it's such a unique song too, in that the way you guys crafted the lyric, it's almost like a psalm in that it takes on, you know, there's a rhythm to it in the lyric, but also it's uncovering a little bit of who God is along the way. But maybe Ben, start with you and talk about, like, you know, just the starting of the song, how you guys ended up working on it together. And
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's like, to us, it's a really special song. It was a lot of fun to write. It initially started like a year ago, and at that point it was a much shorter song. And then when Joel heard it, he came back with like 1,000 lyrics and made it infinitely better, as he does. And yeah, so much of it I think just came out of great conversation. And it kind of feels to me like every line was a bit of a revelation we had, or something that we were really stoked on when it came to God. I remember one night in the studio we were talking about that line, "As you speak," and you know, God spoke however many years ago, and the universe is still expanding, trying to catch up with what He said, or God spoke, and creation is still being sustained in that same breath. Or on the cross, Jesus said, "It is finished," and 100 billion failures disappear, and the kingdom is gradually being restored around the earth. And so I just think, I remember that being such a great conversation.
We probably talked more than we did wrote lyrics.
Yeah.
Just talking about God.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, talk a little bit about just the development of the song, like idea-wise, because I know a lot of the way you work on songs. I mean, it seems like in today's music culture, a lot of songs kind of stop within like a 10-hour period. It's like we wrote it, we're done, we're moving on. And but I know you go back often, and you're just always sanding and always really going back over the lyric, and you can really tell that in this song. But talk about just how this kind of unfolded into really kind of these chapters of a song.
Yeah, I mean, it's a story, you know, and I think once we started kind of just telling the story of who God was, and it started with light, because that was where it was, and that's how God kind of started the whole thing. It's just like every single time we turned a page, it just felt like then there was another page to turn. Yeah. And you know, I know that sometimes it can be unhelpful to, like, you can put too much into a song lyrically, and I think we probably did at some point. So we took a lot more lyrics out than we ended up. Yeah. You had to tone a bunch back. Yeah. But it was just, I mean, it was actually, like Ben said, it was just one of those really fun processes where it was like a lot of work, but it was like I didn't want to do anything else, just wanted to keep seeing where we could land. And I know for me, often when you start with a song, you might have a lyric that's great, that's right there when you write the song. And sometimes I just need to I want to go through like around the whole world, so to speak, to come back and know, we were in the right place to start. And sometimes you move away from where you started and you find out there's something like that's better or more fitting. And I just enjoy the process. And this was really, really fun because Ben is such an incredibly gifted writer, and it was like every single time we would be just throwing thoughts at each other, and I'd be like, I think I've got a great lyric, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, that's great, what about this? And I'd be like, yeah, no, that's better. And then I'd be like, what about this? And then he'd be like, yeah, it's pretty good too. So it was just kind of that process, and it was super fun. And I think we were, like I just said, we would be writing lyrics, but we were just talking about God and just who he is and how he works, and it kind of ended up in the song in a really unique way. And on the last, like Ben was, we were going to have one of the other guys sing the song, and Ben went in to sing the demo, and he starts singing just the demo, and I turned to Mikey, and we just looked at each other and went, yeah, no, Ben needs to sing this song. and then on the last night we were recording, the song was pretty much finished, to be honest. And the music, there was still a little space of music at the end, and we were just going to repeat basically the bridge. And then it was just like this thought of, we talk about the magnitude of God, and it's amazing, and it's hard to wrap words around who he is. And so we thought, well, if we just add more zeros to 10,000, like that, it's, 10,000 reasons was great. We just thought we'd go with 100 billion. Not really, but when we started talking about the magnitude of it, something felt a little bit off right at the very end, and it was just more that for all the bigness of God, all the mystery that we can't comprehend and can't put a number to, sometimes it felt cheap going 100 billion. And so that's the conversation, and it was like, well, what if we just kind of brought it back to the essence of who God really is, because he's always been about the individual, the one. And it was one of those kind of happy accidents where it kind of at the very end it was like, hey, let's just go, you do it again 100 billion times, but what measure could amount to your desire? How can you put a measure on God's love other than he's the one who never leaves the one behind? And it was like, oh, that's great. And then afterwards we're like, whoa, and it's called So Will I, because there's something about everything that God does. Our job is just to respond and to give ourselves to the same thing. And that, it just made a lot of sense. And so, yeah, it's one of those songs.
Yeah.
Right. And it's really cool to see people responding. You guys did a live set here in Nashville last night, and most people hadn't had a long time to live with the music, whatever. As soon as you guys start singing the song, there were moments in the song where people were just it's like cheering, for what was being said. And I think there's those songs there's songs you sing, and then there's songs that actually preach to your soul, and this is one of those songs that really does that. So it's super great. So Ben, walk us through what you're playing. This some pretty simple chords. A lot of the work in this song is in the lyric, and and so the music underneath is actually pretty simple.
Yeah, that's right. So in the verse here, we start. We did today in G. On the record, it's in A, but we brought it down today, and starts on the C, the 4, to the 6, E minor, to the 5, D, back to the 4, and then going into the chorus, we just pass on the 1/3 to the 5, then chorus as you 1, G. 100 billion 6, catch your 5.
Very helpful.
Yeah. And da 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 1/3 to the 4. If the 6 and a 4, so will 1. Plays through like that for the rest of the chorus, and then the turnaround is actually pretty much half of the chorus progression. So will I 1 6 5. Pass on the 3 again, and then you're into the verse. God of your promise, and that's pretty much it. The bridge
It's just
it just does the 4 5 6 thing. 4 6 5.
Yeah, I forgot how simple it is.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah,
And kind of moves like a hymn.
yeah.